I mean, for 15 years, man. For 15 years, I've been waiting for this shit. I'm 29 years old now. I'm as big a fan of the Yankees as I've ever been, which is crazy. Usually, as you get older, you mature more, and you kind of go away from that. I'm like it's almost unhealthy how big of a fan I am of this Yankees team. But man, am I happy I stuck through it. Stuck through, I say, as it's been like it's been the freaking 2006. No, man, that I I didn't know how I was gonna react. I didn't. I didn't know if I was gonna get excited. I didn't know if I was gonna get emotional. I didn't know, and I ended up just screaming like a little boy. Um, wow, the New York Yankees are going back to the World Series. That is an insane statement to say, but it's true. 15 years later, the Yankees have won the American League pennant. So they're going back to the Fall Classic to play baseball in the final series of the season for Major League Baseball. I don't know. Well, I do know. I'm pretty sure I've said this a few times on the show. Back when I was younger, I made I guess you could say, pact with my family and friends. And I said that even when I turned 21, I would not have my first sip of alcohol until the Yankees won the World Series or the Knicks won a championship. I'm 29 yet. I'm 29 now, and I've yet to have my first sip of alcohol. But now I am 4 wins away from making that statement a true statement. The Yankees just have to go 4-3 in the next couple weeks, and I will be having my first sip of alcohol. I will not remember the night, so for those of you who will be around me if this happens, be sure to record it, put it on social so I can remember it, and so the world can see how big of a Yankees fan I am. This is huge for me, man, and I'm gonna try my best to get tickets. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to because these things are made for rich people only, but 15 years later. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm going to try to take this. I think the first game's Friday. The first World Series game is Friday. So I'm going to try to take as many days as I can this week to embrace this before I get into, before I get back into game mode and start getting nervous and stuff and start thinking about what's going to happen the next series. I'm going to take as much time as I can to embrace this because it's been 15 years. I had my cousin, who's been my guy forever now. We used to see each other every day in the summer. We watched Yankees games together. We played baseball in the backyard every single day. We used to have a big field in the backyard before they put a friggin' house there, with neighbors that we don't get along with. They used to have a big field. It was a big, giant field that one of my other next door neighbors owned, and she let us play baseball there every single day in the summer. And we would play baseball every single day. My cousin and I would just get those Ken Griffey Jr. wiffle ball bats, and we would mash home runs all the way to the end of the field where there was a big ivy fence, and it would go into somebody else's yards, and we would just hit bombs, and we would count how many we'd hit over time, and it added up to be over 600, 700. We definitely lost track and just made up numbers at one point, but we thought we were like the New York fucking Yankees. We were just obsessed with Yankees baseball as kids, and we still see each other here and there, but not a lot. And I had him over, and it was fun, man. He came over last night, and we watched the Yankees advance to the World Series. So last time I think we watched the Yankees game together was 2019 when it was the LeMahieu home run, answered back by the Altuve moment. So this was a better one. Yeah, It was me, my brother, and my cousin who watched it on outside on the patio last night. And it was awesome together to just watch that. It was a friggin' blast. And I looked at my phone right before the Juan Soto home run in the 10th inning. I look at my phone. I had it on Do Not Disturb, but you can scroll up and you see. And I had a bunch of different text messages from a bunch of different people. And I figured, I'm probably a little bit behind. Something had to have happened. And, I don't want to say it spoiled it for me because it was literally a split second as I processed it. I look up and then I get to watch the pitch and Soto hits the bomb. I'm like, holy crap. And the Yankees advanced. I ran into the street. I was, again, screaming like a little boy. And we're not done yet, but listen, folks, I'm ready for it. I'm confident. I'm cocky. I told you guys. I told everybody who listens to this stupid little show in the first episode of the season, after we covered the Houston Astros series, I said, I was all hyped up. We won that series, 4-0, 4-0. And I said, if the Yankees are good this year, sorry, I'm just speechless right now. I had to pause it for a sec, the recording, just because I can't gather my thoughts. I don't know what to say. I have some notes. We'll go over them, but I told you guys at the beginning of the season, if the Yankees are good this year, I'm going to be a pompous asshole. And so I hope everybody who is a Yankees hater, which is everybody who's not a Yankees fan, is prepared. Everybody that I run into is going to hate me if you're not a Yankees fan. I'm going to be a piece of filth human. I'm going to be human garbage. I'm going to be the classic Yankees fan. And if we win this World Series, man. So be prepared. We're in it. We had two very tough teams. You can cry all you want about teams not being who you want it to be. That's the funniest shit in the world. You can cry about payroll, which is also, you peasants. People crying about, the Yankees payroll. Maybe tell your rich owners to pay up. It's not a Yankees problem. It's the fact that your rich owner is pinching pennies. You got to pay to play in this game. Sorry, you want to be like us, the big boys? You got to pay to play. See, it's coming out already. But yeah, is that illegal or is that part of the game? Win. I don't care. Win. Win me baseball games. Anything it takes, win. It's so funny, man. It's always the little engine that could until the Yankees win. Then it's, payroll, salary cap. I love being a fan of a team that has shit tons of money and being a fan of a team that buys players. And I hope the Yankees payroll increases from 300 to 500 next year. Because I just want to hear your tears, your cries. Because you Moneyball peasants clearly still don't know that you have to pay to win in this sport. Beanball does not work. It's a good movie, but Billy Bean never won jack shit. You know who did? George Steinbrenner. George Steinbrenner won because he spent money. He spent money. And that's how you win. The last 13 years, the average payroll of the World Series winner is 7th among baseball. There are 30 teams. This year, it's going to continue on that trend because it's going to be the Yankees versus the Mets or Dodgers. All three of those teams, top 5 in payroll. You have to pay to play. peasants. And I'm going back to 13 years because I got that information on Spot Track. That's as far back as they go with their payroll. But the average payroll for your World Series winner the last 13 years is the 7th highest. You've got to pay. That's how this works. You guys cried and you bitched and you whined about the Texas-Arizona World Series last year. Well, now you're getting two of the biggest markets in the world, the two most popular teams in the world, and apparently you're still crying. The Yankees are back. The evil empire is back. We're so much better than all of you. We walk all over you. We stomp on your face. We spit, and then we go about our day and laugh. Because we're the Yankees, and we're better than you. Let's go win a World Series, though. That's got to be next. Let's get to our intro, and then we'll be right back. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
Trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is it.
It's over.
See ya. 3,000 history for the next
Coming up, so Yankee. Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Oh, man. Welcome back. Episode 728 of the podcast. The Yanks are American League champs. ALCS Game 5 yesterday. The lefty Rodon against the righty Bibee. Bottom second, Josh Naylor double, 1-0 Cleveland. Bottom 5, Quan singles, 2-0 Cleveland. Thanks, that's it. Bye. Stanton with a big game tying home run in the 6th. Soto doing the job in the 10th. And the Yankees win 5-2. Weaver closes it out. Just one base runner. 5-2. They advance to the Fall Classic. That's your recap. Rodon goes 4 2/3. 2 runs allowed, 5 hits, a walk, 6 strikeouts, no home runs, 2 extra base hits, 85 pitches, and the no decision. He was not great. I've been a little disappointed with his postseason. 1 bad start, 1 great start, 1 so-so start. Which is funny because I said this a number of times entering the playoffs, that there's going to be no in-between with Rodon this postseason. It turns out that so far he's been pretty in between. He wasn't getting the same swing and miss stuff that he was from game 1 of this series. There was a lot of fouling off, a lot of deep counts, high pitch count. Slider didn't have the same bite. But the bullpen was excellent. They didn't allow a single run. The bats produced 5 runs on 9 hits, 3 extra base hits, 1 walk, struck out 9. They went 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position again. You had Juan Soto, 3 for 5, double, home run, 3 RBIs. Giancarlo Stanton, 1 for 4, home run, 2 RBIs. Gleyber Torres, 2 for 5, couple of base hits. Which, speaking of Gleyber Torres, also said this entering the postseason in one of our preview episodes. If Gleyber has another good postseason, I'm bringing the guy back. And guess what, folks? His postseason resume is starting to look really friggin' solid. Gleyber Torres has played 40 postseason games. with the Yankees in his career. And it's a very impressive resume. His postseason career. Here are the numbers. 285 batting average, 374 on base percentage, 450 slugging percentage, 824 OPS. 6 home runs, 7 doubles, 22 walks, 22 RBIs, 27 runs. And again, that's across 40 games. He's had some really good postseasons with the Yankees. 2019, he had a 1078 OPS in 9 games. 2020, he had a 1263 OPS across 7 games. He goes 0 for 4 in the wild card game. 2021, who cares? And then 2022, he has his first real struggle in the postseason where he had a 419 OPS across 9 games. But he bounced back this year, and he's having an excellent postseason so far. Where across 9 games this playoffs, Gleyber's batting .297 with a 400 on base, a .432 slug, and an .832 OPS. 2 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs, 7 walks, 9 runs scored. He's been remarkable. He's getting on base to start every single game, and that is so massive with Soto behind him. Just producing those first inning runs. He's making every play at second base this postseason. That's kind of been not talked about as much. You know, the first inning was a little frustrating there when Gleyber can't score from first on a double. And then that fat lord of butter, Josh Naylor, ends up scoring from first on a double. But other than that, an amazing first 2 series for Gleyber Torres this year. So, yeah. I'm bringing him back next year. Give him a new contract. Obviously, Juan Soto's got to be your priority. But if there's a way to bring both of them back, and there should be a way, you're the Yankees, get him back in there at leadoff. Because he's been excellent there. He doesn't take those big hacks with his head being pulled out and just a lot of moving parts in the swing. No, he's much more cleaner with the approach. He's got the mid to right center field approach. It's just a much more clean swing. And for a guy who just consistently gets it done in the playoffs, I can't let that go. Every time October comes around, it reminds you how little we really care about the regular season once the calendar flips. Bring Gleyber Torres back home next year. As great as he's been, I mean, how can you not talk about what you're getting right now from Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton? My goodness. Stanton's got more career home runs in the postseason than Babe Ruth with 16. And they're clutch home runs, too. They're very clutch home runs. He ties the game last night. Game 4, he extends a 1-run lead to make it a 6-2 lead. Game 3, obviously the big legacy moment with Judge going back-to-back to give the Yankees the lead. Breaking the tie. And then in Game 1 of the series, he has the late home run to make it a non-save situation at the time. Just consistently clutch. You start laughing every home run he hits now. He's hitting the ball super friggin' hard. He's taking advantage of every single mistake the pitcher makes. And then Juan Soto, not far behind. His numbers this postseason, he's batting .333 across 9 games, .439 on base, .667 slug, .1106 OPS, 3 homers, 2 doubles, 7 walks, 8 RBIs, 6 runs scored. He also slugged .895 in this LCS. And that at-bat, oh my God. That at-bat that he had last night against Gaddis, one of the four horsemen, in the top of the 10th inning. Just impeccable. Just playing mind games. The confidence he was showing. He knew what was coming. He was on that fastball. He was on it. He was telling himself. He was staring Gaddis down like prey. Soto, so many times. Like, he knows the result. And he just waits for it. He was taking swings up there, most of that at bat, not to try and hit it, but to try and delay it and get to where he wanted to go. He was waiting and waiting and waiting for Gaddis to go back to the fastball. And so he took a couple defensive swings off speed pitches, and he finally gets the heater up in the zone, and he pounds it into the seats. In that stadium, Progressive Field, just sounded like a friggin' library. Actually, I shouldn't even say that because Yankees fans went wild. Just one of the cooler moments. I mean, it's probably the best moment I've witnessed as a Yankees fan since 2009 when A-Rod did his thing. Like, there are a lot of moments from 2009, of course. But since then, that was by far the greatest Yankees moment. Just unbelievable, man. Just how Juan Soto knows what he's going to do, and he gets it done. Everybody knew he was coming through there. Everybody knew it. Not to mention, you go back to the 6th inning, Giancarlo Stanton, his at-bat versus Tanner Bybee, the Cleveland ace. You know, why wouldn't you intentionally walk him there with 2 outs and 2 bases open, first and second? Jazz is due up next, who's, can't hit a beach ball. But he pitches to him. Bybee gives him 5 straight off speed to get to a full count. Right? He gets 2 swing and misses on a slider and changeup. Neither of them were close to the zone. And then he throws 3 balls. Stanton spits on a slider, a curve, and a changeup. Neither of them were close at all to the zone. So at a 3-2 count, he gives him he was setting up low and away, but he ends up leaving the slider in the middle of the plate. It's a meatball pitch. It goes back in the strike zone, and Stanton mashes it to tie the game. Why would you go back in the zone there? If you're going to go away, set up away. Make sure you don't make that mistake. And this is like Stanton was looking bad all night. He was chasing that slider. You know, the top of the first inning, he struck out swinging on a cutter, low and out. That was way out, right? It was your classic Stanton swing and miss. Same thing, top of the 4th. Struck out swinging on the same exact pitch and location. And I believe Bybee went to that pitch twice in that at-bat. So he tries going back to it in the top of the 6th, but completely mislocates it, and it's in the zone. Just an amazing home run. And when Stanton hits it, you know the second that swing is finished, that it's going out. I couldn't believe it happened again. Just the confidence you get the second he swings the bat and that ball leaves it. If you let him make contact, I mean, apparently it's out because he had 4 hits in this series. All of them are home runs. So don't let him make contact. So Stanton was unbelievable. And for that reason, I'm tipping my cap to him again. Tipping my cap to him again. Let me fix this real quick. 728. Giancarlo Stanton in the 2024 ALCS had a 1222 OPS, 4 hits, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 3 walks, 16 total bases, 5 runs scored. That was across 5 LCS games. Giancarlo Stanton this postseason, across 9 games, 294 average, 385 on base, 794 slugging, 1179 OPS, 2 doubles, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 5 walks, 6 runs, 27 bases, a stolen base. Unreal. And now he's got 5 cap tips on the year. 3 of them came in the regular season, and he's already got 2 of them in the postseason. October Stanton, postseason Stanton, playoff Stanton, whatever you want to call him. The guy's worth every penny of that contract simply because of this. Sorry. He wins the ALCS MVP. I thought it might have went to Soto there for a second. I thought it was going to just because of that hit. But it's kind of hard not to give it to Stanton. Just unreal. Not to make it sound like the Yankees didn't hit outside him and Soto. Because, as we said in previous episodes this round, the supporting cast was excellent. A lot of you guys were worried about depth. A lot of us were. But I kept saying in my episodes, don't worry about their depth. They got guys who can contribute. And what do you know? Torres, who we just talked about. Volpe. Wow. Volpe. Rizzo. Playoff Rizzo. Verdugo has even had moments on both sides of the diamond. You got production from the bottom of the order, which was huge. Huge. To get production there before you go back to the top is so massive. And that's why it's such a tough lineup to face. The balance of a lineup is huge. To have right, left like that, so hard to match up with and go to certain lanes in your bullpen if you're an opposing manager. But also to just, balance in terms of keeping guys who can hit at the bottom just to have some security down there. That's huge. Rizzo. Playoff Rizzo's real. He's been hitting every postseason that he gets a chance for the Yankees. 2021 wildcard game, he goes deep. 2022, he went nuts with Harrison Bader that year. And this year, he's on the roster for the LCS, and he was super solid across 5 games. I think 4 starts. He was excellent from the 6th hole. Going 6 for 14 with a double, 2 walks, and a 500 on-base percentage. Also slugged 500. Blue pits the other way. He had that double down the line in the middle of the series, showing some pull power again. He was on base a lot. Timely hits, just awesome. The defense at first base has been a little lackluster. It's not been the same this year. He's slower to react, but, I liked how Boone did what a lot of us wanted him to do, which was replace him late in the game for defense, and he did that last night. Which, by the way, Cabrera and Berti have been solid on both sides of the diamond, too. But Anthony Volpe going to shortstop, this kid, fantastic from the 7 hole this postseason so far. He's played 9 games, 310 average, 459 on base, 804 OPS. A double, 8 walks, 6 strikeouts only, 2 stolen bases, 6 runs scored. This is how Volpe looks when he's hot in the regular season. It's not often he's been hot in the regular season, but when he is, it looks exactly like this, where he's going up to the plate with that right center field approach, making hard, solid contact to all fields, working at bats, right? He's spitting on tough pitches on the edges, staying away from breaking balls on the edges outside, not swinging and missing on those fastballs up in the zone or inside. He's just staying inside the strike zone, which is why he was such a highly touted prospect. And he's playing some really good shortstop. After that game 1 mistake in the LDS, he's been great over there. And so this is why the Yankees stick with Volpe. Because they believe that this kind of bat is in there eventually, that it's going to turn around and be consistent. But he has had a remarkable postseason for them. Power's not been amazing, but he's getting on base consistently from the 7 hole. So you get those guys producing with base hits and walks. That's all you need, because you get to Verdugo. He's gotten some hits. He's moving runners over with contact. Then you got your big bats at the top who are going to bring you home. And, I'll give a little respect to Aaron Judge, because, listen, they're going to need so much more from him in the World Series. But at least in the LCS, it wasn't like a loud problem. It was kind of getting loud there for a bit in the Kansas City series. But he had enough moments in this past series against Cleveland where, listen, 5 games, he had 6 RBIs, 2 homers, and a .500 slugging. He had some clutch moments. He has the home run in Game 2 to extend the lead, which was very comforting. And then he has the big legacy home run in Game 4, which would have went down as a massive hit in Yankees history had they won that game. Unfortunately, they didn't, but it's just a huge hit. So the lineup that everybody was afraid about did what I expected them to do. They produced offense at the end of the day, and they did it behind their depth. The Yankees scored 29 runs in 5 games. They scored 5+ in each of those games. They averaged 5.8 runs a game in this series. That's not bad. To do that against 2 opponents with solid playoff pitching, solid. That's good. Yes, they struggled with runners in scoring position, some of the situational at-bats. I get it. They did go 4 for 12 in their last 2 games, .333 in scoring position. The bats produced runs. The bullpen has been huge this entire postseason for the Yankees. They had the blip in the road for a couple games there. Game 3 and Game 4, they weren't great. They were taxed. Weaver and Holmes had some bumps. But overall, you look at these 9 games, they have done an elite job of holding their own and picking up the starting pitchers. And I'm talking about the primary guys. I'm talking about in this series how he went more to his secondary guys, Boone did. Like Tim Hill, logged a ton of innings in this round. 5 2/3 innings in the LCS, 2 runs, only one of them earned. Actually, that's been this entire postseason. Going to that 2-seam fastball to get those ground balls, the double plays, soft contact, keeping it on the ground. He's tough to hit, even if he doesn't throw hard because he throws at that arm angle. Guy's been getting the job done. He was the unsung hero for 2 games in a row now. Mark Leiter, another one. Huge last couple games of the LCS. This is a guy who was just notified he was going to be on the roster. But it didn't matter. He comes in and he does the damn job. He does the job. He got swing and miss with that splitter. He got some soft contact. Obviously, that one Rizzo play was tough, but just like that, Mark Leiter comes in 2 games in a playoff, two deciding games of the LCS, and he did his thing, and he's not hated anymore. That's all you got to do as a Yankee. Jay Cousins, I thought he was outstanding. It took forever, for Boone to finally go to him, but he finally does it, and Cousins gets the job done. He had the 1 bad inning when he was sent back out there for a second inning in Game 4, but giving a ton of swing and miss with that wipeout slider. Thing moves like a wiffle ball, and that 2-seamer that runs back in on the hands to righties is insane. That's why I love Cousins, because he's got 2 different pitches that go in 2 different directions, which makes him effective versus both lefties and righties. And that was my concern with Luke Weaver after, that big loss to Big Christmas, is I wish Weaver would flash his cutter more to right-handed hitters. And then you saw it last night. He went with the cutter to the last batter of the game yesterday. So Weaver had a good series. He's had a good postseason. I know he had a couple of bad ones, but he's been used a lot. So he's a little taxed. Cleveland, picked him up a little better because they knew the more you use a guy, you get used to him. But besides that one game, he's had a hell of a postseason. And again, shout out to Aaron Boone for, making all these moves and having them all pay off. I was screaming for Garrett Cole again last night. But the formula Boone used worked. Leiter, Hill, Cousins, Weaver. It worked. That's the 4 horsemen for the Yankees. Imagine telling somebody that those guys are going to get the final outs to send the Yankees to the World Series. Imagine saying that to someone before the season. That Al Leiter's nephew. That some old man who looks like a gas station clerk. That Kirk Cousins' cousin. That's some skinny white kid. Those guys are gonna bring you to the Fall Classic. All 4 of those guys are Cashman bargain bin specials too. Like those aren't guys who you traded for, you traded a haul of prospects for. Those aren't guys you signed for big money. No, those are guys that you found off the scrap heap. Right? So we call the Cashman special. Cashman finds him. Blake taps into him. So, I mean, that's just... Luke Weaver's been incredible. Jake Cousins. That bullpen has gotten it done. And now? Well, now the Yankees are waiting on a dance partner. I'm at a point where I don't really care anymore who we face. Just get it done. I do want this series to go to 7 games just to make it easier for the Yankees. But I think both, whether it's Yankees-Dodgers or Yankees-Mets, both are going to give the MLB some amazing ratings. If you play the Mets, you got the Subway Series. Potentially the battle for Juan Soto. There's going to be no home field advantage in this series. Traffic's going to be nuts. But, it's going to be heated because it's going to be very heated. Nobody's going to want to lose to the other. You don't want to lose to the Mets. I think it's probably going to be the Dodgers. They're up 3-2. There's a game tonight. Both of them are in L.A. And I hate the Dodgers just as much. Not just as much, but I do hate the Dodgers a lot. But if the Yankees face them, it's going to be good for the MLB. That's a classic matchup. Yankees-Dodgers, World Series, East versus West. 2 powerhouse franchises. They're a better team than the Mets. They're a really good team. Both the Yankees and Dodgers match up pretty evenly on paper. Dodgers probably slight favorites. They do have home field advantage if it does end up being them. And the Yankees are going to have to be on their game. They're going to have to be on their game. To beat the Dodgers, they're going to have to keep playing Yankees baseball, which they have so far, right? And how many times have we sat here and said, if the Yankees want to win in the playoffs, they got to do it their way. Power and bullpen, and that's the modern way. The Yankees won this series 4-1. They had 5 more home runs. Their slugging percentage was 88 points higher. They got to the 4 horsemen from Cleveland. Right? Tim Herron was pretty good, but they beat up on Emmanuel Clase. They got to Cade Smith. God bless America. They got to him in Game 4. They bitched around Hunter Gaddis all series. Cleveland got to the Yankee game. Cleveland got to the Yankee bullpen, 2 out of 5 games? Only one of those games resulted in a Cleveland win. Power and bullpen. That's how the Yankees win. And that's the perfect formula for modern baseball. That's how that's worked. Now, not saying this means the Yankees are going to win it all. They're going to need a lot more from, they're going to have to play a lot better. Their starting pitching is still going to have to go deeper into games. That hasn't happened yet. You're going to need Garrett Cole to be Garrett Cole. That hasn't really happened yet. Rodon's going to have to go deeper into games. That hasn't happened. Aaron Judge is going to have to go off. I don't mean be better, but he's going to have to go off. That hasn't happened. Because this Dodger lineup is deep as shit. Especially if Freeman gets healthy. It's not going to be easy for the Yankees. And if Judge is not on his game, I don't know if the Yankees are going to beat the Dodgers. But for now, let's just sit back and wait, see what we have, and embrace this for the week. The Yankees are back in the World Series, folks. Friggin' awesome. Let's head to break. We'll get back and wrap this up. Stay with us.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Episode 728 of the podcast. 728, I say. Thanks for tuning in to BD4. I appreciate every one of you. Let's wrap it up with our trivia, though. Let's get to our trivia question for 728. Okay. This episode, our trivia question of the day. Our trivia question is, here it is. During the 2009 Fall Classic, Mariano Rivera broke the record for career World Series saves with how many? During the 2009 Fall Classic, Mariano Rivera broke the record for career World Series saves with how many? So let me know the answer, and I'll give you a shout out in front of all two of our listeners in the next show if you get it correct. Oh man, the Yanks are American League champs again. Feels good. Not done yet. Not done yet. This is not a successful season by any means until this team is holding up their 28th World Series championship trophy. So let's go win us a World Series, folks. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks!